Well, we're going to make sure that I'm not going to talk too much about that since nothing is official yet. So once we make it official, we can talk a little bit more about that.
With the amount of infielders, with kind of veteran infielders you've brought in for depth, like what does that signal maybe about the long-term plans for this season for the infield?
When it comes to Brendan Rodgers?
Or just in general, I mean, you brought in Guillorme, you brought in
right.
Short, you're going to bring in Rodgers. Just like, as you're at it, why do you guys feel like you need to add depth kind of in your middle?
Well, we are exploring, the Altuve in left, exploring other opportunities for the guys to play the position. So we feel that this is a guy that can also add a level of opportunities, and we like some of the tools that some of these guys that we brought into camp. So we're just creating a nice little competition there to see who could get some of those repetition if Jose's playing left field, who could play second base, and also there's some bench roles here that also are up for grabs. So that's our goal behind all of this.
I'm not overreacting to 2 days, but Altuve didn't take any infield yesterday. He's not on the schedule to work with the infielders today. Kind of, how do you plan to divvy his workload between outfield and infield just before games start?
Yeah, so right now for the next 4 or 5 days he'll be in the outfield, but at least I want to make sure that at least twice a week he'll go and take some ground balls. And just because he's not on the schedule with the outfield, with the infield, doesn't mean that he's not working on his infield. So there's always early work, post work, stuff that we do. So he might sprinkle some of that stuff in there for his second base work.
How do you think his arm will profile out there? Does we, for lack of a better phrase, have to stretch him out because of, he's been sidearm and all that? I mean, a lot of fans are wondering how, because they're like, well, we haven't seen him throw. So
he's been throwing for 13 years. Like
from a different
position. Yeah, from a different position. Yeah. He's a much longer throw. And he does have enough arm strength to play left field. He hasn't showcased this because he didn't have to. But in some relay throws, he has shown arm strength and accuracy. But we are working through those mechanics to make sure that he has enough accuracy and leverage to finish some of those throws.
Is Dubon going to be less of a utility player this year, do you think? I mean, is it too early to tell? Because I know I talked to him this morning. He's like, I'm only worried about right now my infield.
Yeah, and that's where I want him to be at. Just worried about his infield glove right now. That's my instruction to him, has been right now. I want him to focus in the infield. But you're also going to see him do some outfield work. And I'm also going to play him in the outfield during spring training. But right now I just want him just to kind of worry about, taking ground balls up the middle, and then we'll go from there. I'm not really concerned about Dubon's work in the outfield or, anywhere else.
You said you're gonna ease Altuve and Alvarez and some guys into games, but with Altuve specifically, do you want to wait to play him in a game until you feel comfortable with him in the outfield?
Yes, that's the goal. I'm thinking another week. I want us to cover a lot of information and go over some stuff before we put him out there in a game. Not going to, share which game I'm thinking about, but, I want him just to feel comfortable and make sure that we do cuts and relays, we throw to the bases, we have fly ball communication today. We got to cover a lot of ground before I give him those first reps in the game.
Are you thinking his first games will be in the outfield though, rather than second?
Yes. His first game in spring training will be in the outfield. I can share that with you. Yes.
Who will start on games on Saturday?
I'll have that for you tomorrow. I will share those with you.
How much does the fact that you have Jake in center kind of ease some of your any concerns you may have about putting Altuve in left?
Yeah, and also who will play right. Having a Gold Glove center fielder, it makes us make these decisions a little bit easier, knowing that we have someone that can cover the gaps. So that's something that when we are thought about the Altuve potentially playing left field, having Jake Meyers in center field. It make the decision a little bit easier, knowing that he can go and go get the ball.
Do you have any plans for Garcia to get off the mound?
He has thrown Luis Garcia.
Off the mound.
Yeah, he has thrown some pitches off the mound already. Yeah, so intent, and that's going to be, progressive. But he has thrown a few pitches up the mound, so that's good stuff.
Any new injuries or just the same as
Same. The only one is Ort. It looks like he's going to take a little bit of time. So, but Dubon is progressing well. But that's the only one that he's just going to probably see where it's not progressing. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Is Jacob Melton full go? It just didn't seem out there with defense.
Yeah, so Jacob actually has been, for the last 2 days, kind of a mild little soreness on his lower half, like he's back. So we're going to make sure that we get him 100% before we send him out there on the field. He's moving around, he's doing some stuff in the weight room, but we don't want him just to go out there and start going 100%. We just want to make sure that we can get the back 100% before we send him on games and stuff.
Were you satisfied last year with the ratio between Yanier and Victor in terms of how much they each played, and do you want to change that? Do you want to see one play a little bit more, a little bit less behind the dish?
No, you know what? I think the ratio was good. Victor is a really good catcher, and I like giving Yanier some time to recover and expose Caratini to our rotations and use Diaz in different ways, and also Victor. So right now I'm leaning as kind of the same workload, but as you guys well know, those things might change depending on how the season goes on.